Hello, YouTube. What's up to my YouTubers? I'm sitting in the parking lot, getting my chill on, about to run into the store right quick. But I had something on my mind that I want to talk to y'all about. And I kind of wanted to share my experience with being a military veteran. Okay, a lot of people who are active duty, like currently, or even people who have served in the past, will tell you that whatever your recruiter tells you to get you to sign your name on the dotted line, honey, take that all with a grain of salt. You know, my time in the military was fun. I'm not gonna even lie to you. I had a good time, and I met a lot of really, cool people and people that I'm still friends with today, or that I keep in touch with, and people I still love with all of my heart. I'll do anything for them. However, we're not just talking about people. We're talking about benefits. The overall benefit for coming into the military and what it's like to be a military veteran in the year 2017. Okay, so when I joined, my primary reason for joining was not just because I simply love my country so much, which I do, but my primary reason for joining was to get college money. And I did that. I went into the military and I served 4 years as a United States Army bandsman. And there's actually another video. I vlogged about that in another video. I'll probably put the link for that below. But it was really cool. Most of the time it was pretty cool. But what recruiters don't tell you is that should you ever decide that you want to get out of the military, it's really not that easy if you're in the middle of your contract, unless you're getting like medically discharged. By all means, you want to get your honorable discharge. I know a lot of people who got other than honorable, dishonorable, and medical discharges, etc. And life is really not that good for them. I see a lot of them getting their hustle on, and it's really difficult for them to get full-time jobs because, a lot of employers who are looking for military veterans are looking for honorable. So I got honorably discharged. I completed my full 4 years, and like I said, I got my college money and I got out. In those 4 years, I became extremely dependent on the military for my financial needs, food, clothing, shelter, etc. You get paid. Well, I don't know what it is now. Y'all probably still get paid on the 1st and the 15th of every month. But I was getting paid on the 1st and the 15th of every month. So I had a steady paycheck coming in at all times. So I knew if there was any bill that I needed to pay, if I couldn't pay it on the 1st or whatever, if I ran out of money from paying some bills, I could pay it on the 15th. And when you're in the military active duty, you really don't have a lot of bills unless you have family, And so when I first came in, staying in the barracks, my only bills were my cell phone, my vehicle, because I had a car. My phone, and you really don't have to spend a lot of money on food either, because there's a, DFACS right there, a dining facility right there. So unless you just really don't want to eat the food in the chow hall or in the galley, you really don't have to spend a lot of money on food either. And then clothes, they give you what you wear to work. But me being the fashionista that I am, I spend a lot of money on clothes. Not a lot, but weekend wear, stuff to wear on the weekend. And it gives you a false sense of financial stability, because if you ever decide to get out, not only do you have to find a job and a lot of jobs don't pay you bi-weekly. They pay you monthly, especially if you're working in like education. They'll pay you monthly, once a month. And so you have to learn how to make a full month's pay, work for you in a month, and you don't have that every 2 weeks, having extra money coming in. Sometimes if you don't get a job that pays bi-weekly. And then when you get out of the military, like I said, then you have all these new expenses that you never had before. Like, I didn't have to pay rent when I first came in. I didn't have to pay rent. And a lot of times I really didn't need to use my vehicle because there was a lot of things that were within walking distance for me. I just caught a ride with somebody else, we were all right there on the post or on base together. And, when we would go out to eat, only one of us would drive. And we all ride together. Or if somebody was going to go make a run for like Subway or something like that, or go get some chicken, we just collect our money together and just send one person with the money to go get the food and bring it back to the barracks. Or, you kind of take money for granted. You take that freedom of just being able to chill for granted when you're in. But when you get out and you're by yourself and you don't have those same homies, those same comrades, as we call them in the Army, we don't have our battle buddies with us anymore. So, we're out in our own little place, in our own little world, and we're trying to survive, and we don't have that camaraderie anymore. So, paycheck, like I said, 1st and the 15th, you don't get that anymore unless you go into another, place of employment where you get paid bi-weekly, and even still, it may not be the 1st and the 15th. Also, medical. When you're in active duty, for the most part, you get free medical. There's no need to have any extra insurance, because if something goes wrong, you just run down there to sick call and, tell the doctor that you don't feel well or whatever, get you some Motrin and going back to your room. I had both of my children in the military. I didn't have to pay for either one of my pregnancies because the military took care of my pregnancies, my deliveries. And when I was in, while I was pregnant, they had prenatal PT. So before you have your baby, they have special physical training for ladies who, need to be able to stay in shape and take care of their bodies while they're pregnant in the military. And then when you get out, there's postpartum physical training. So if you dare to try to have a child after you get out of the military, well, if you had one while you were in, you didn't have to pay for it. But if you have children when you get out, you got to pay for them. Whatever, your insurance says you have to pay for them, and out-of-pocket expenses and stuff like that. So I didn't have any children after I got out. I only had my 2 while I was in. And so, military, like I said, you get your college fund and Montgomery GI Bill. And because I had joined in Texas and returned back to Texas and went to college in Texas, I had the Hazelwood Act on top of that for free college. And I had like $40,000 or $50,000 in college fund and Montgomery GI Bill. While I was in the military, I had tuition assistance. At first it was 100%, and then something happened and went down to 75% tuition assistance for college. So I don't know what it is now. And then because I got hurt in the military, which I didn't even know I was hurt until I started to get ready to ETS, to get out of the military, I found out I had problems with my knees and my back, which explains a lot because I had a difficult time in the military. So you get into a routine of getting up several times out of the week to go do your physical training and, get up, go to PT, take your shower, eat your breakfast, go to work. Get off from work, do details around your unit or whatever that, needs to be done, and then you go home. Well, when I first got out, I was still on that schedule. Get up, work out. But, you don't have the same, it goes back to that camaraderie. You don't have the same camaraderie to go, when you go work out, you don't have anybody, friends to go with you unless you really have a, nice group of friends. You don't have your unit to work out with anymore. Nobody to motivate you. And, that changes when you become a veteran because you're no longer a part of the unit anymore. You might still be friends with the people that are still in the unit, but it's not the same as getting up and doing it together with your unit at the same time, going to breakfast together at the same time, dressing the same, So it was a bit of a culture shock when I got out at first. Now, like I said, with medical, if you are a disabled veteran, then you can go to the VA hospital and, go to the doctor, and any medicine that has to do with treating your service-connected injuries are free. Any of those medicines are free. But if it's not service-connected, like you have a cold or flu or whatever, you got to pay for them. And a lot of times it's over-the-counter medications, like Robitussin or, like cough syrup or Tylenol or Motrin. And the VA hospital will try to break your arm off with the price of regular over-the-counter medications. But like I said, it has its pros because, like I said, if it's service-connected, like for me, medicines for my knees and my back, hey, that's completely 100% free. I don't have to pay anything for that. Another thing that you don't find out about in the military is about stress, anxieties, and depression. When you're in the military, you're wound up so tight a lot of times that you don't pay attention to your body and the signs and symptoms that your body, puts out to let you know that you are stressed out or having anxiety or going through a depression. When I was in the military, I went through a depression. I did. It was pretty bad. I didn't want to be in at one point in time. I just felt like there was nothing that was going right for me. There was nothing that I could do right. I was staying in trouble, in and out of trouble all the time. Of course, this didn't last a long, long time. It was just at one point in time, things just weren't going well for me. I just couldn't seem to do anything right. Having marital problems and having kids back to back, and then not being able to see my children because I had to ship them off, and so that I could, be able to stay at work and work during the terrorist attacks and all this stuff like that. It was really crazy. So what a lot of people don't talk about is when you get out of the military, when you're in, you have access to free psychiatric care. You can go see a psychologist. You can go see a counselor. You can go see a psychiatrist. You can go to the doctor and let people know, hey, something's wrong with me and it's no problem, and it's, all free. But when you get out of the military, unless your psychiatric needs are on paper, when you come out, it comes out of pocket. Now, you can still get counseling as a veteran. You can still get counseling and psychiatric care, but the medicines are definitely coming out of pocket. You kind of get down. A lot of people who get out of the military, who have been in for a long time, I only did 4 years. I know people who have done 27 years, 30 years, 40 some years, 15, 16 years and gotten out. And you start feeling down you have, it's not that you don't have anything to live for. It's just that, you've been wound up so tight, going for all those years. And then all of a sudden there's a lot of time, nothing. Now, if you are a military veteran and you are applying for jobs, a lot of times they are going to ask you for a copy of your discharge papers. So make sure that you have a copy of your DD-214, your discharge papers, and also your SF-15. That also helps to, further verify any type of disabilities that you might have. And disabled veterans get preferences on a lot of jobs. So when you fill out your SF-15 and you take a test and you fill out your resume, there's a point system that employers, especially government employers, have put in place to determine which person is the best candidate for the job. And so, like, let's say for instance, you're 30% disabled. Okay, you would get like a 5 to 10 point preference above other people, other applicants. If you're above that up to 100%, I think you get like a 15-point preference. So on a scale of like, let's say 0 to 100, let's say most of the candidates score at about an 80 on a 100-point scale, because you're a military veteran and a disabled military veteran at that. Let's say for instance you're like 70%, you get an extra 15 points above those other candidates, making you the better candidate for the position. So that's good. But if you're in a military town where people are getting out and living in the same town, like let's say for instance you are stationed at a specific base and you get out and you decide that you want to live in that town, well, there are hundreds of other people who are probably thinking the same thing. They probably bought a house while they were in the military and they got out. So there are hundreds and thousands of veterans who are all fighting for the same job. Jobs are not guaranteed just because you're a military veteran. They are not guaranteed. I can't stress this enough that, while you're in the military, get your military transcript, your ARCH transcript, and learn how to take your military transcript and translate it into civilian language to help beef up a really good resume. Because a lot of military people don't know how to speak English. They speak in codes and acronyms. So learn how to translate the fact that you were a non-commissioned officer. Learn how to translate into manager. Learn how to translate that you were a, worked in S1. Let's say, for instance, you worked in S1. Okay, S1 is what? Admin. So if you're working in S1 and you're working in admin, you need to learn how to keep track of all of the administrative duties that you performed while you were working in S1. You were in S4, you were supply or something like that. You need to learn how to keep track of your the things that you've done in the military pertaining to that job, and learn how to translate that into English so that employers can see. Because a lot of people who will be employers, especially and even working with the government, a lot of them have never served in the military, so they don't know what our acronyms stand for. People don't tell you that when you get ready to get out. There's help available if you're looking for a job. Going to different labor resource centers and going online, and I'm going to do another video on looking for a job, but like governmentjobs.com, usajobs.gov, indeed.com, Monster, I don't fool with that much. A lot of these websites that you go to, this is another thing, you are not necessarily applying directly to the company. When you apply online, you're applying to a service, which is like a go-between, like a mediator type service, and they filter out who they think would be the best candidate for the job based on keywords in your resume, and then they send over to the company who they think would be a better fit for the position based on the position of the job description given to them. So you got to learn how to start contacting people. If you're a military veteran, don't just put your DD-214 on the internet with your social security number on it, and your SF-15 on there with your social security number on it, and then a really tight resume, and don't follow up with employers. So yeah, you got to do that. A lot of people, like I said, going with the mental health issues, they don't develop mental health issues and certain health issues until they get out. So while you're in, you need to document everything. Everything. If your nose itches, get that crap documented. If your back hurts, if your knees hurt, a lot of people are like, I don't want to seem like I'm weak. I don't want to go to sick call because I don't want to, seem like I'm weak. Yeah, but when you get out and your freaking knees are still hurting and you're having to pay out of your own pocket to continue to get medical care, you're going to wish that you had left the paper trail of your ailments. You're going to wish that you did. So quit being a freaking, I don't want to say a wuss, But quit trying to be so freaking strong with it and just go to CitCall and get that crap documented, because you're going to need it when you get ready to get out. And it'll also help you get your disability benefits if there's any to be gotten. So, I can't really think of anything else right now. Oh, other than anxieties and stuff. You know, when we go into the military, they line us up in a big long row and they just, you know, inoculate us and give us all kind of vaccinations, and we don't know what the crap that they're putting in our bodies. But when we get out, a lot of people are complaining about having, you know, health issues that they never had before when they get out. You know, you got to be careful. There's nothing that you can do when you're in there, because practically you are technically government property. You are technically government property. You belong to DOD, Department of Defense. You are a soldier, you are a Marine, you're a sailor. You know, it's like, wow, what do you do? But when you get out, a lot of people have complained about having nightmares, about having night scares, and you know, just all around anxiety and low self-esteem and things like that. And so there's people out here killing themselves, which is not good. They're killing themselves, committing suicide and committing homicide from anxieties and depressions that they didn't even know were in existence. They didn't have a clue that it existed when they were in the military. So, yeah, just be aware. And for those of you who are watching who are not military, you know, just be sensitive. Be sensitive to veterans, especially around holidays, fireworks and stuff like that. Some of us have gone over there, you know, gone overseas. Some of us have actually seen war and, you know, heard the gunshots and things like that. Even, you know, we were exposed to it in basic training, you know, shooting rifles and grenades and landmines and, you know, gas chambers. And so even if we never saw battle, we still heard it. We still know what it sounds like. And people have developed post-traumatic stress disorder and, you know, PTSD. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. If you know, I'll probably have to do another video on PTSD, you know, because you can get it without being in the military. You can get it from being in a relationship that is like jam-packed with domestic violence, or, you know, you've been experienced a traumatic event in your life. You can get PTSD. But anyway, I'm gonna go and run in the store right quick. But that's the basic gist excuse me, of this video. You know, just to let y'all know that if you're a veteran and you didn't know about some of these resources available, or if you are active duty, getting ready to go active duty or things like that, hopefully I said something in this video that would be helpful to you. And this video is long enough. I need to touch my lipstick up, something. Anyway, I'm having a bummy day. I hope this, you know, video could help somebody, and leave your comments below, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.